They think respect comes from being kind, from being present, from being available. But the truth is brutal. The more they can reach you, the less they value you. The court jester is always around, always smiling, always eager, and no one fears the jester. But the king appears when he wants, he speaks when he must, and when he enters a room, silence walks in before he does. If you want respect, real, permanent, unshakable respect, you must become unavailable, not out of laziness, out of strategy. A man who is always seen is forgotten. A man who disappears is remembered. This is why the most respected people are ghosts in plain sight. They know that presence without purpose is weakness, that if they give too much, they'll be consumed. So they don't just protect their time, they weaponize their absence. And here's the most terrifying part. When you're unavailable, the world fills the silence with stories. They assume you're important. They assume you're working. They assume you're powerful. Because power never chases. And when they don't know what you're doing, they fear what you might be doing. This is not about playing hard to get. This is about making yourself a myth, a figure, not a follower. Because the moment they can always reach you is the moment they stop reaching up to you. Respect begins to die the moment you're too easy to find. This is the first law of power that weak men never understand. They think being available makes them loyal, makes them kind, makes them worthy. But what it really does is strip them of mystique. It tears down their aura. It makes them predictable. And predictability is death to respect. Fools give themselves away for free. The wise make themselves expensive. Think about the people who are truly respected, not loved, not liked, but respected. The ones who walk into a room and the temperature shifts. The ones whose absence is more powerful than most people's presence. They're not always seen. They're not always talking. They're not replying instantly. They're not begging for relevance. They are absent, and because of that, they are feared. Most men fear being forgotten. The respected man fears being too common. Because when you are constantly accessible, when your attention is always for sale, people instinctively rank you lower. Not consciously. It's deeper than that. Their subconscious decides you have nothing better to do. You're always there, which means you're no one. No one of value is available all the time. No one of power is easy to contact. And no one of true worth tolerates being pulled in every direction like a servant. Your time signals your value. So if you give it away, what are you really saying about yourself? In the Machiavellian world, appearance is power. Perception becomes reality. This is why distance matters. This is why respect requires silence. The man who speaks rarely is heard completely. The man who vanishes is talked about more than the man who performs. Consider kings, CEOs, generals, strategists. Do they post daily updates on their every movement? Do they reply to every message, answer every call, appear at every event? Number. They operate from the shadows. They observe. They choose when to strike, when to reveal. And when they do, the room holds its breath, because the moment means something. Now compare this with the weak man, always present, always responding, always offering an opinion even when no one asked. He floods the space with noise, but no one listens. He's always visible, yet invisible in meaning. This is the trap most people fall into. In an age of connection, they think being constantly reachable is a sign of social value. But the truth is harsher. The more people hear from you, the less they care about what you say. The respected man weaponizes absence. He knows that to be desired, he must disappear. That power grows in shadows. That silence makes others speak your name louder. He creates space. And in that space, others wonder, assume, invent. And that mystery, that's the throne he sits on. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't justify his distance. He doesn't apologize for going dark. Because the moment you explain your silence, you kill its power. Mystery doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't come with notifications. It lingers. And respect. Respect grows in that silence, in that gap, in that void where others can't reach you, can't label you, can't drag you down to their level. So here's the lesson. If you want to be respected, disappear. Not forever. Just enough to be missed. Enough to make your presence feel earned. Enough to make every return feel like a statement. Be unavailable not because you're hiding, but because you're building value in absence. Be the storm they didn't see coming. Be the question they can't stop asking. Be the silence that screams louder than their noise. Respect is not won through presence. It's built in the shadows. Disappear, and make them remember why they ever noticed you at all. Power is not declared, it is implied. This is why kings sit on thrones, raised above, removed from the crowd. Not because they need the height, but because they need the distance. Strategic absence is not about hiding, it is about design. The man who understands this plays a deeper game than the one who fights for constant visibility. He knows presence is addictive, and the more he gives, the more he is consumed. But absence, controlled, deliberate absence, that creates tension, that breeds curiosity, that fosters awe, because nothing valuable is overexposed. The diamond is buried, the throne is guarded, the powerful are never easily accessed. So ask yourself, why are you so available? Is it guilt? Fear of being forgotten? Anxious attachment to relevance? These are not the emotions of a sovereign. These are the traits of a servant, desperate to please, terrified to be ignored. The Machiavellian doesn't think like this. He withdraws because he is powerful, not as an escape, but as a demonstration. Understand this. Humans do not value what they see too often. This is not opinion. This is nature. Overexposure dulls the edge. Familiarity drains mystery. And once people understand you fully, they will try to categorize you, predict you, control you, and ultimately, disrespect you. This is why absence is your shield. It stops others from seeing the full pattern. It creates room for assumptions. And when they don't know what you're doing, they imagine you're doing more than you actually are. That's where the real psychological leverage lives. Let others show up to every table, every event, every call, every message. Let them burn themselves out chasing visibility. You appear when it matters. You speak when silence would make you more dangerous. You're not unseen. You're rare. And rarity breeds reverence. Think of powerful historical figures. Machiavelli himself, Caesar, Napoleon, Marcus Aurelius. These men mastered the art of withdrawal. They knew when to remove themselves, not because they were weak, but because they wanted the world to feel their absence. That absence created hunger. And when they returned, it was with thunder. The man who is always talking becomes background noise. The man who vanishes, then speaks, becomes an event. So how do you use this in modern life? Start by removing yourself from spaces where your presence is taken for granted. Cut back your exposure. Don't be the one who's always explaining himself, always reacting, always posting, always chasing. Be the one who operates in the background. Be cold, be still, be calculating. Make people come to you. Make them wait. Make them wonder. When they ask why you've gone quiet, don't answer. Let the silence answer for you. The unknown version of you is far more terrifying than the known one. This is how you flip the dynamic. You go from begging to being begged for, from chasing to being chased, from seen to sought. Power is not in being liked. It is in being missed. And no one is missed more than the one who left at his peak, the one who said little, gave little, and still commanded more attention than the loudest man in the room. When you are unavailable, you send a message. I am not at your service. I am not here to prove anything. I do not move for you. That message, unspoken, burns deeper than any speech ever could. So vanish. Not forever. Just long enough. Long enough to become a question mark in their minds. Long enough to feel your own power again. Let them get used to your silence. Let them wonder where you went. Let them realize how much of your presence they wasted. And when you return, if you choose to return, return with command. The man who disappears at will and returns on his own terms is never disrespected. If you want to be respected, don't speak louder. Become harder to reach. Humans don't desire what they understand. They desire what they can't explain, what they can't reach, what they can't control. This is the law of obsession, and it's built on distance. The most respected people aren't the most skilled, or the most moral, or the most loud. They are the ones whose absence creates pressure. The ones whose silence speaks louder than others shouting. The ones who, by not being accessible, become the center of attention. Why? Because when someone is constantly present, they become predictable. And when someone is predictable, they become boring. Their words lose edge. Their energy becomes background noise. Their name no longer echoes. It fades. But when you remove yourself, when you go dark, when you disappear, something strange happens. People start imagining things. They ask questions. Where is he? Why is he so quiet? What is he doing that I'm not? The silence becomes a mirror that reflects their own insecurity. And that's the moment you rise in value, without lifting a finger. Mystery activates the mind. Absence fuels imagination. And in the mind, you grow into a figure larger than reality. This is how gods were born. Not by being everywhere, but by being invisible and unreachable. This is why Machiavellian rulers understood that to be respected, one must be rare. Not only in appearance, but in attention. The king does not dine with peasants daily. He does not answer every complaint. He does not explain himself. Why? Because explanation invites debate. Availability invites disrespect. Presence invites expectations. But mystery invites worship. To make someone obsessed, don't chase them. Vanish. Let them confront the empty space where you used to be. Let them feel the cold silence you leave behind. People do not miss noise. They miss gravity. And if your presence has weight, your absence will be unbearable. This tactic works in every arena: business, relationships, leadership. In every setting, the man who is always there is eventually ignored. But the one who limits his exposure becomes high value by default. People begin to time their movements around him. They wait for his input. They anticipate his decisions. And when he speaks, they listen like it's prophecy. Not because of what he says, but because of how rarely he says it. Unavailability triggers obsession because it demands imagination. And here's the dark truth. People don't want answers. They want tension. They want the unknown. They respect the one who withholds, the one who controls access, the one who lets them feel the distance and never apologizes for it. The man who is always explaining, always justifying, always showing up on time is a servant. Even if he thinks he's helping, he is shrinking. He is lowering himself. Because value is not in how much you give, it's in how little they can take. You do not build respect by flooding people with your presence. You build respect by making your presence expensive. If they want your attention, make them earn it. If they want your words, make them wait. If they want your insight, make them prove they deserve it. Every time you're too available, you leak power. Every time you explain your silence, you lower your rank. Every time you let people pull you out of your frame, you lose mystique. And when mystique dies, respect dies with it. Here's the Machiavellian law. Control the space you occupy. and control the silence you leave behind. Because when you're truly powerful, you don't chase, you don't explain, you don't fill the silence. You let it suffocate them. You let it create pressure. You let it build value. Your value. Let the others be predictable. Let them try to win respect by being loud, fast, accessible. You become the storm they can't predict. You become the absence they can't ignore. You become the question they can't answer. And that is how legends are made. Power doesn't come from a moment of distance. It comes from the discipline of distance. The respected man is not respected because he disappears once. He's respected because he builds a system that keeps him above the crowd. His unavailability is not an accident. It's a method, a machine, an empire of absence with rules no one else dares to break. If you want permanent respect, you must construct your life like a fortress, not with walls of stone, but with boundaries made of silence. Set a schedule no one can control but you. The most disrespected people live in reaction. They answer every message, attend every meeting, show up on others' time. They've sold their calendar, and with it, their dignity. The respected man does not rush, he does not jump, he does not follow. He decides when to appear and when to disappear. If someone asks, "Are you free?" he answers, "I decide when I'm free." Control of time is control of status. Whoever waits holds less power. Make them wait. Respond slowly, not emotionally. Instant replies scream desperation. Instant access screams weakness. You must train yourself to resist the impulse to respond. The Machiavellian mind moves slowly, not because it is lazy, but because it calculates. You don't reply immediately. You let them wonder, let them doubt, let them talk to themselves in the silence. Silence is a scalpel. Use it to cut through noise, to punish impatience, to raise your value without saying a word. Speak less, but say more. The respected man is a mystery because he doesn't explain himself. He speaks like a weapon, rarely drawn but deadly when unsheathed. Every word you say costs respect. Don't spend it cheaply. Let others fill the silence. Let them scramble to interpret your calm. When you speak, speak with weight. Short sentences, calm delivery, unapologetic tone. Power isn't loud, it's precise. Leave early, arrive late, be missed. You do not linger, you do not overstay. The powerful leave at the peak of attention. They vanish when others crave more. Let your presence be a gift, not an obligation. Show up late enough to be noticed. Leave early enough to be remembered. This trains people to value every second of your presence. They'll learn that when you speak, they listen, because they don't know when you'll be back. Cultivate mystery in public and private. Never reveal everything. Not to your friends, not to your enemies. Let your habits be untraceable. Let your routines be unpredictable. Let your motivations remain unclear. Mystery breeds respect because it creates tension, and tension commands focus. Don't be the man who shares every thought. Be the man whose silence makes others paranoid. Paranoia is power. Let them fear what they cannot see. Ignore without guilt. Most people stay accessible because they fear being disliked. They can't tolerate the discomfort of ignoring a message, missing a call, skipping a gathering. So they sacrifice power for approval. The Machiavellian man is immune to this. He knows being liked is optional. Being respected is essential. He will not dilute his value to be accepted. He will not break his silence to ease someone else's anxiety. He is unavailable by principle, not by accident. Ignore guilt. Ignore noise. Ignore anything that pulls you back into the crowd. Let them talk. Let them whine. Let them wonder. Every unanswered message builds your throne. Make return appearances feel like a gift. When you do reappear, make it count. Look sharp. Speak less. Move with intention. Let it feel like royalty just entered the room. Don't rush. Don't apologize. Don't explain where you've been. You've been where kings reside, away from the noise. Your presence is an event now, an experience, and they're lucky you decided to show up. If you do this correctly, they won't ask where you went. They'll simply try harder not to lose you again. In the end, the game is not about being respected. It's about becoming untouchable. The man who is always around is admired for a moment, then forgotten forever. But the man who disappears at his peak, who holds his silence, who controls access like a king controls gold, that man doesn't just win attention. He becomes unforgettable. He becomes legend. Unavailability is not just a strategy. It is the sculptor of mystique, the gatekeeper of myth, the final stage of power where you stop being a man and become a presence. Something talked about in rooms you're not in, something studied, feared, imitated, never truly known. Do you understand what that means? When you're always present, you're manageable. When you're always speaking, you're predictable. When you're always online, you're replaceable. But when you become rare, when you vanish at the height of demand, when you stop explaining yourself, you stop being part of the crowd and start being carved into the minds of others. Absence becomes your signature. Silence becomes your voice. Your decisions no longer require justification. They are accepted as law. Not because you forced them, but because you became too distant to question. The world starts to treat you as more than human, because you behave as something above human impulse. You ignore noise. You detach from emotion. You appear when you decide, and disappear without apology. They'll start calling you mysterious, powerful, intimidating. But all you did was stop making yourself common. People fear what they cannot predict. People respect what they cannot touch. And people worship what they cannot understand. This is why the most respected men in history are often the least accessible. They didn't just rule with words, they ruled with their absence. Their myth grew with each year they said nothing. With each conflict, they ignored. With each public appearance they refused to make. Inaccessibility doesn't mean you run. It means you choose. It means you move like a shadow, only seen when it serves your purpose. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be arrogant. But you must become rare. Because the rare are automatically valuable, and the common are automatically dismissed. Here's the final law. Disrespect dies in the shadow of absence. No one dares mock what they don't understand. No one touches what they can't reach. No one disrespects the one they fear might never return. This is the end game, not just to be respected, but to be untouchable, to be unforgettable, to be legend. Now, if this spoke to something inside you, if you felt your posture shift, if you saw your future self standing taller, colder, more powerful, then you already know what you need to do next. Rebuild your presence. Starve the noise. Raise your value by becoming harder to reach. And let your silence become your loudest message. If you want more truths like this, cold, sharp, and real, you already know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and disappear, just long enough for them to miss you. We don't chase respect here. We become the reason it exists. Until next time, stay silent, stay sovereign.